Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu. To some, he was a rebel. To millions of Igbos, he was a hero who refused to watch his people be wiped out. This is the story of the man who declared Biafra. He was born November 4th, 1933 in today's Niger State. He was the second son of Sir Louis Odumegu Ojukwu, one of the wealthiest men in West Africa. His father could have set him up for a life of comfort and luxury, but Ojukwu had other plans. After school in Nigeria, he went to Epsom College in England and then to Oxford University, where he studied modern history. Everybody expected him to come back and take over his father's businesses. But instead, in 1957, he shocked the country and his father by joining the Nigerian army. He was the first university graduate to enlist and he climbed the ranks fast. He trained in Britain, served in the Congo on peacekeeping duty, and by 1963, he was a lieutenant colonel commanding the Army's 5th Battalion in Kano. In January of 1966, Nigeria saw its first coup, carried out mostly by young Igbo officers. Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa and other leaders were killed during this coup. Now, Ojukwu wasn't part of that coup, but when Major General Aguiyi Ironsi took over as head of state, Ojukwu was appointed military governor of the Eastern region. He was just 32 years old at this time. But 6 months later came the counter coup. Aguiyi Ironsi was killed, Yakubu Gowon became head of state, and almost immediately, violence against Igbo people exploded in the north. Tens of thousands of Eastern Nigerians were killed in the pogroms. Many fled back home with horror stories of massacres. Ojukwu demanded protection for his people. He said there should be more autonomy for the regions. Then in January of 1967, he met Gowon and other leaders in Ghana. This was the Aburi Accord, where they agreed on decentralizing power to keep Nigeria together. But back home, the federal government did not implement it. Then in May 1967, Gowon announced the creation of 12 new states, splitting the eastern region into 3. For Ojukwu, this was the breaking point because it stripped the East of control over key oil-rich areas, and it showed that the federal government was moving against them. On May 30th, 1967, Ojukwu declared the Republic of Biafra. His reason was to prevent his people from being wiped out. To the federal government, this was rebellion, but to Igbos, it was survival. Ojukwu became the head of state of Biafra and their commander-in-chief. Weeks later, Nigerian troops invaded. The Biafra War started. At first, Biafra shocked everybody with early victories. They were even advancing into mid-western Nigeria. But Nigeria's armies, they were bigger, they were better equipped, they were backed by Britain and the Soviet Union. They surrounded Biafra, they cut off food, supplies. Ojukwu fought on, using every international connection and media outlet to draw attention to what he called a genocide. There were images of starving Biafran children, skin on bone, their stomachs big. It shocked the world. It triggered one of the largest humanitarian airlifts in history. But Biafra wasn't completely alone. Cote d'Ivoire, Gabon, Tanzania, and Zambia, they officially recognized it, and this gave Ojukwu some international backing. Inside Biafra, Ojukwu was more than just a president. He was Ikemba, meaning the strength of the people, and he was Dim, meaning leader. He visited battlefronts, encouraged soldiers. He kept morale alive even as food ran out. These people were hungry. By late 1969, Biafra was exhausted. On January 8, 1970, Ojukwu handed power to his deputy, Philip Effiong, and he left for Ivory Coast to avoid total annihilation. A week later, Biafra surrendered. Gowon declared, "No victor, no vanquished." But Ojukwu couldn't return yet. He lived in exile for 13 years. Then in 1982, President Shehu Shagari granted him a pardon. Ojukwu came home to a hero's welcome. Tens of thousands of people lined his streets. His people officially gave him the chieftaincy title, Ikemba Nnewi. After his return, he told his people that even if Biafra's borders were gone, there would always be a Biafra of the mind, a spirit of dignity and self-determination that nobody could take away. In later years, he went into politics. He co-founded the APGA, and he even ran for president twice. He never won, but in the southeast, his rallies were electric. Crowds came to see the man who once stood up to Nigeria for them. Ojukwu died November 26, 2011 in London, aged 78. Nigeria gave him a state funeral. His coffin was draped with both the Nigerian flag and the old Biafran flag, a sign of reconciliation and a reminder of who he was. To some Nigerians, he will always be the man who broke the country apart. But to millions of Igbos, Dim Chukwuemeka Odumego Ojukwu, he was, and still is, the general who stood between them and extinction. A hero who traded privilege for power because he believed that his people's lives were worth fighting for. So yes, he's a hero. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you enjoy it, please follow me. I tell these stories all the time.